Hey everyone. So right now I've just finished, cleaning out the lines where I want to have it ready for primer. And there's a couple of things on this frame I touched on earlier about embossing. And this is one of the areas here on panel 6 that has the most prominent issue. As you can see right here, it had this embossed area where it was depressed about 1.5 millimeters, and I wanted to have it smooth, so I actually filled this in when I did my original. I just smoothed it all over and didn't worry about the lights on this side. But since it's going BB-8, I want to make sure it has these lights. I didn't want to fill it in with Bondo or anything and sculpt it. I wanted it to be strong. I thought about doing resin. I have resin downstairs, but I went ahead and cut the original STL file and made a spacer here. And I filed it down so it fit in just strong to the surface. What I'm going to do is CA glue it in, clamp it down, let it sit for a while, and then what I'll do is I'll sand it smooth, and then that way I have a nice hard surface that the material matches. Make sure to clean this up a little bit and get a lot of that primer and paint out there, and I'll go ahead and put this in and show you guys the results after that's glued. And then I'll take it back outside, sand this area down, and then I'll sand everything else with 220 and set it up for primer later on today, and I'll show you the setup as well as before and after shots of that. Alright, well, we're outside now. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I have this all sanded down. It's all nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do now is just clean up where the CA glue fell into some of the lines and rescribe this upper line right in here just to get a little bit more prominent. And then I'm going to go, there's a couple of triangle circles where I want to get some of the primer out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then make sure all the screws are countersunk correctly. I know there's a few of them that I missed. And then I'll go over it with 220 and start setting up for paint. But that's probably the last bit of prep work I got to do. All in all, it wasn't too bad. Probably going to add up to like 4.5, 5 hours of just prep work from where it was to getting ready for the first coats of primer. And like I said before, I'm using automotive primer with hardener in it. It's like super hard. You can't even put your fingernail through it. But that'll give me a good surface area to touch up all the lines and any imperfections that I see, just to kind of get it to where I'm happy with it. Alright, so we'll get you on the next one. Bye. Well, here we are. I got the frame all sanded down to 220 and about to go take the panels off, but I just wanted to show you how good this turned out. So this printed filler, glued in, sand down, sculpted the lenses so they fit better. So that way it's a smooth transition now, similar to what this is, or almost exactly. So really happy with that. So now it's time to unscrew everything, and I'm just going to double check the lines, make sure there's no debris in it, and prep these for paint tomorrow, because I didn't get time to do it today. And I'll show you my setup after that's done. Alright, on to the next. So it's interesting when you're going from printing a new frame to redoing an older one, you just keep finding areas where you need to clean paint. And one of them is this edge here. It's been really caked on from the rattle cans, from primer to you name it, it's on there. So when I took these off, I went ahead and did a once over. The lines were great, and then I saw these edges and I realized that these should be cleaned as well, just because it's so caked in there, and it's possible the panels will sit a little bit better too as well. I've done it already on this one here, so it'd be interesting to see the results after they fit, but it's all nice and cleaned up. It's fairly easy. Just used a detailed chisel just just to go along this edge, and then I used my razor blade and just cleaned out this edge here, and just enough, you know, I'm not trying to get it looking like this red, just to get all the surface of that off. There's that part again that fit in place there. It's pretty good. I'm happy with it. So we'll move on to getting these cleaned up on the edges, as well as, let's see, what else do we have to do besides before priming it? Well, we'll just set it up, we'll tack cloth it, we'll do the normal prep steps that you do when painting. You know, take your air compressor and blow out any debris, and then use your tack cloth, and then we'll apply that. But we'll get onto that once I'm onto that process there.